Okay, we're on Terumot, Perek Yud Aleph, chapter 11, Mishnah Hey, fifth Mishnah in the 11th chapter of Terumot. We're going to talk about the seeds of Terumah. Do the seeds of Terumah have a din of Terumah or not? And then the Mishnah proceeds to other areas, other issues that are related. Garinei Terumah. Let's say I have seeds of Terumah. I ate my apple. Now I have seeds left. Or another good example. Let's say I have a pumpkin. Now I have a pumpkin seeds. Bizman shehu mechansan. If the Kohen mechansan keeps them, asurot, then a zar cannot eat them because they're considered still food. Meaning, if he's going to keep them, and if he throws them away, then mutara, then a zar, non-Kohen, can eat them, or can take them, can use them how he wants. Says the Bartanura, bizmanchu machnisam v'data alehem, and he wants to keep them below yifkiran, and he doesn't make them hefker, then asurim. But he says only ukagon shein rakin uriyin la'achila. That only applies if they're soft and edible. Kagon, for example, garinei tapuchim v'chavushim v'agasim. Hey, apples, chavush, I don't remember what that is. Agas, pears, whatever. Oshenish, no, that's not right. Yeah, pears, right. Oshenish arbem lachluchit. There's some wetness to them, some moisture. Shebnei adam motzitinotam, you can suck them. Kagon garinei atmarim, ukiyatze behem. Aval einam ru'im klal, if they're not edible at all, afilu kohen machnisam, if the kohen wants to keep them, hareilu mutarim. So I guess my example of pumpkin seeds, people take them, they roast them, they eat them. So those are definitely edible. So even though if the Kohen would keep them, if the Kohen threw them away, then I guess they're mutar, but the Kohen kept them, they're certainly edible and asurim. V'chein, the same rule is true, ba'atzamot kadoshim hakodshim. If I have bones from kodshim, from a korban, the Kohen who had korbanot, that there was only mutar kohanim, not for zarim, not for non-kohanim. The same is true of the bones. Bizmanshu mechatzan, if the Kohen keeps them asurim, they still have some kind of edibleness. V'im ishlicham, but if he threw them away, mutarim, then they're no longer the din of food, and therefore they're mutar. And the Bartanura says, atzamot kochim, atzamot ru'im ksat la'achila mari. It said they're somewhat edible. Then kagon rashei knafayim v'schusin, chischus, the cartilage forming the ear or the helix. Who knows? And then he gives another one, gristle, or the chischusim, or the gristle, and it appears here. Haschusin. So now you know that that's gristle. Nonetheless, if it has some gristle or if it has some fat on it, that's one thing. But if there's nothing on it, then it's not considered food. The Mishnah continues. Hamursan mutar. Mursan is bran. It's the first chaff that's thrown away when you split it. It's the first thing that's thrown away. I actually did a little bit of research. Bran is the outer layer or husk of grain, just as oats, right, for grains such as oat, right, or wheat. Or wheat, rice or wheat. And for many years, the outer layer was simply discarded during the milling process. They just threw it away. It was not considered a kind of food. So in our Mishnah is a proof of that. Mursan is mutar. If I have mursan of trumah, the Kohen took the wheat to the granary, and he ground the flour. He ate the flour he keeps, the mursan he threw away, so Azar can have it. But subin there was a second layer. So now he took the flour and he sifted it. And when he sifted it, the flour came through, and the subin were on top. So the Mishnah says the following: Subin shel chadashot asirot. If it's new grain, if it's relatively new grain, it's asur. V'shel yishanot mutarot. Okay, and older flour or older grains are mutar. What's the difference? Subin shel chitin chadashot shel truma asirot. The zarim, a non-kohen cannot eat it. Why? Lefisha chadashot hein lachot, because they're wet. Since they're wet, they have moisture, they don't grind very well. There's a lot of flour left on the subin, so that it was still edible, there was still food, there's still truma in there. But older grains, then they're older, they're drier, and they grind well, they're mutar. The subin that's left, they would just throw it away. Okay, then no, because there's no flour mixed in there at all. The Mishnah continues. V'noheg, but truma, k'derach shenoheg b'chulin. You treat truma the same way that you would treat chulin. What that means is, okay, if you would throw away the mursan, the subin, okay, the same way you would do it for chulin, so you can throw it away the same way you would for truma, okay, the same way that you would throw it away. The same. It's not a problem of getting rid of truma or destroying truma. So you can treat it the way, so if it's chulin, you would throw it away, you can do the same thing for our truma. Misaletis from the word solet. Solet is fine flour. We've seen the idea of fine flour. They only brought fine flour when they made Hamikdash. Rich people ate fine flour. So let's say the Kohen said, I want beautiful white flour to make lovely cakes for my guests, for my Truma guests, for my Kohanim guests. So when he makes solet, he sifts and sifts and sifts. So the point is, though, that what's left on the top of the sifter is still edible. It's still flour. So if I make solet, kav o kabayim l'sa'ah, only a kav or 2 kav come out of a sa'ah. A sa'ah is 6 kav. So I'm throwing away 5/6 or 4/6, 2/3. Lo yabed ashar. I cannot get rid of the rest. Rather, ela yanichenu b'makom ha'mutznah. I keep it in the place that's mutznah, that's hidden, that's saved, because that has a din of truma. Okay, and the rest of it is considered edible flour. The solet is wonderful. You can have solet. There's no problem. But the rest of it is also edible, and the Kohen has to keep it and save it and use it as he would any other truma. We'll stop here. Dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. And as always, if you have comments or questions, email me at rspolter@gmail.com. Have a good day.